gentlemen, here's Zach Whitley.
The date is 1616, and the astronomer Galileo Galilei is viewing the beauty of the wondrous northern lights. Amazed by them, he names the spectacular lights after the mythical goddess of the dawn, Aurora, and the Greek name for the wind of the north, Boreas. Referenced by the website space.com, copyright 2012, this is where the name Aurora Borealis comes from for the auroras in the north. Today we will explore the spectacular Aurora Borealis of the north, along with the less-known Aurora Australis of the south. Three main topics revolving around these auroras that will be shared are the history of the lights throughout past cultures, the scientific evidence that explains them today, and the various places where they can be viewed. First of all, the history of the northern lights has been portrayed throughout cultures as a mysterious natural phenomenon for thousands of years. As referenced by the journal Astronomy, published November 2008, which is a well-known space journal, the Vikings were the first to discover the northern lights. The lights also were the signpost to Greenland for the Vikings, which is why they started looking at them as they saw them in the sky. So when they traveled west, and then west of there, they came to Newfoundland, which is just a fact. As aforementioned by astronomy, auroral displays also may have a connection to the Valkyries, which are deities in Norse mythology, which is the Viking mythology. Stated in the reference entry, Monkey Shines on Canada, the Great White North, published 1994 by the North Carolina Learning Institute for Fitness and Education, the Eskimo or Inuit also held superstitious beliefs about the auroras. They believed that they were torches held in the hand of spirits to guide those who have died to the land of happiness. They also believed that the swishing noise from the auroras were the sounds of the dead trying to communicate back to Earth. Even though the auroras have been around for millennia, scientists are just beginning to discover the truth behind them. Secondly, the northern lights are explained today without mystery, but with scientific evidence. As referenced by the website space.com, copyright 2012, the sun's many magnetic fields are to blame for the auroras. When the magnetic fields twist up, sunspots are formed, which release plasma particles that react with the atmosphere. And on the first slide here, this is just showing the magnetic field around the Earth, and the sun would be out here way far. And as these particles are able to go around the magnetic field, some of them get drawn in. If you can see, there's just red lines here, but they get drawn into the polar cusps. And as they hit the atmosphere, that's where they react with particles in the atmosphere to create the lights, which is explained here. This ring is where they're being hit, and they're not directly centered on the poles because by the first picture they're hit offset from the center, and that's just how they're explained. And then, so those highly charged plasma particles make up the solar wind, which is able to travel the 93 million miles towards Earth in just 40 hours. Stated on the website howstuffworks.com, copyright 2013, which is a source accredited by the Discovery Channel, the high-energy particles from the sun interact with atmospheric gas molecules to produce the colors of the auroras. So, as you can see here, there's kind of like a reddish up here, a violet, and then a green and a blue. And everything has to do with the high-energy particles hitting nitrogen and oxygen. So, to be kind of scientific, if it hits oxygen above 150 miles, it creates the red light, so that's the highest. Below 150 miles is the green, but that's just for oxygen. But when it hits nitrogen, it'll be blue under 60 miles, but violet above 60. So sometimes, if you can tell, like if there's just a green aurora, oh, that's oxygen. So like this picture, it doesn't have all of them. It has the red, the violet, and the green, but not the blue. So you can tell there's not enough nitrogen in the atmosphere at that point. And this is kind of an exception because when particles hit like ionized nitrogen, so nitrogen by itself, it creates this white glow. And the female Norse deities, the Valkyries, this is what the Vikings believed they were. So this is just kind of like a picture of what they were seeing. Stated by the website space.com, published July 9, 2012, the same energetic particles from the light can produce the clapping sound, like I said, by the Inuit that they heard. Scientists are still not able to figure out why it produces the clapping sound because there are many mechanisms that could cause it. With all the scientific evidence explaining the wondrous lights, people can plan ahead to see it for themselves. Lastly, the Northern Lights can be viewed from various areas around the globe. As referenced by the website northernlightscenter.ca, copyright 2012, Northern Lights can be seen near the North and South Poles. The Aurora Borealis can be seen in numerous places, such as Canada, Alaska, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden. But the Aurora Australis in the south is harder to see because there's not as much land mass around where you can see it. So that's why civilization is limited in those areas. In the end, the auroras have been of historical importance to past cultures, can be explained with scientific evidence, and are able to be seen around the globe. These reasons display the amazing power of the solar system and its ability to create the Aurora Borealis